She's not big, but she's trim.
Yes, she is. You kept her in good condition.
I'm careful with who I let rent her. If I don't like the cut of your jib, you're sunk.
Well, I think she'd be perfect for me, but I would like to take her out and see how she handles.
Well, I have to get back to the station in a few minutes. And then I gotta work for a couple of hours.
Well, if you don't mind, I feel perfectly capable of taking her out on my own. I am an experienced sailor. Remember that summer that I crewed Newport to Bermuda?
I always wanted to do one of those. Not in this little beauty, though. But she's fine as wine on the lake. Why don't you take her out, see for yourself?
Okay, thanks.
You were telling that cop the truth. You really are a good sailor.
Who are you?
You're not thrilled I'm here, but, and I shouldn't be, but I couldn't find a place to crash last night.
This is not some kind of joke.
Most of these boats are only used on the weekends. How was I to know?
You just stay right there, okay? You just stay right there, because the very next face you're going to see is going to be a policeman's face. Now, he owns this nice little boat, okay? Okay, Buster?
Buster? No one's ever called me that before. Buster. 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 I think you need to smile when you say that.
Fine.
Buster.
I hope you're going to be smiling when you meet the policeman. We're going back to the marina now, all right? And that's where you're going to see him.
Look, no offense intended here. Can I just get out of here? I'm obviously not the sailor that you are, but don't you need wind for this to go anywhere? And right now, there doesn't seem to be any. Yeah, I think we're just gonna drift. Lady, you're crazy.
You know, I really wasn't trying to drown you.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I also recognize you. You're the guy who tried to rescue me from that loser in the bar last night, right? Look, I told you last night, I don't need any help. I can handle things on my own.
The longer I know you, the more I believe you.
Good.
Look, I'm really sorry about this. As soon as I felt the boat shove off, I wanted to let you know I was on board, but I didn't know how without scaring you.
Well, a simple clearing of the throat would have helped, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, since we're dead in the water here, I guess I ought to take this opportunity to let you know there is no food on board. Believe me, I looked.
I believe you. Besides, I'm not worried. I remember this lake. The wind always dies down in the late afternoon. It'll shift, it'll pick up.
Really? I bet there's an interesting meteorological reason for that. I think inland winds start someplace cool and go someplace warm. Or is it the other way around?
I don't know. I haven't got the faintest idea. All I know is the wind's going to shift. It's going to pick up.
You're from around here.
I didn't say that. Actually, I haven't been here since I was a girl.
What does that make you now?
Not a girl.
Oh, well. Guess I can't say I met a girl on a sailboat then. Since you already know that my name is Buster, what's yours?
Privileged information.
I got it wrong then.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, I stopped into the bar the other night, and apparently you forgot to pay your tab. And the bartender asked me about it.
Why? Why would he ask you about me?
So I didn't want to get stuck with it, so I pretended like I didn't know anything. And he wouldn't let me off the hook. So I said, oh, You mean Contessa? Place here already had a name made up for you. But privileged information suits you just fine. Actually, you do kind of look privileged.
Yeah, well, just bear in mind you know absolutely nothing about me.
No? Give me a minute and I'll tell you everything you always wanted to know about yourself, but were afraid to ask.
Aha! You were right. No food, but
What's that?
contraband. I found it, rolling around down there.
Can I have a swig?
No.
Pretty much germ-free. I'll tell you what, if you split that with me, I'll tell you your life story. And I'll be brutally honest.
Here,
Promise.
take it. But don't tell me my life story. I don't need my fortune told.
I'm only talking about giving you a little feedback on what you project to others. How many people ever get to even hear that about themselves?
That's pretty undergrad of you, but I don't suppose there's a way I can stop you.
Undergrad. I've never been called that before either. This is a day of firsts.
Uh-huh. Well, it can't be the first time that anybody ever said that you love the sound of your own voice.
Well, it's the only one that ever seems to say the things that I agree with. Let's see. You were an only child. Mommy and Daddy were very doting, but they divorced before you were 12. By the time you got into high school, you were out of control. Smoking in the girls' room, drinking wine, hanging out at the gym after dances, necking with guys in the backseat of cars, but only going so far. You didn't want to end up with one of those disasters that meant leaving town for 9 months because you had plans. How am I doing?
Does it matter?
College bored you to death. You quit after a couple of years, but you managed to coax the rest of your tuition out of Daddy, and you took off for Europe. You had a high old time bumming from language to language until the money ran out. Then you got a job in one of those places like Nice or Berlin, where half the people are hardworking and the other half are totally dissipated. You like that because you like the freedom of that, depending on your mood. And that is where you met and married the love of your life. Not an artist, not a politician, but somebody who could have been either one if it had been important to him. And it didn't last. It was too crazy to last. But you still see him once a year, and it's still the same between the two of you. Maybe you even have a kid who's crazy about you both. And turned out amazingly well, despite the fact that, by all rights, you should have been a lousy mother. You're surprised when people say that you're beautiful. Not because you don't think that you are, but because you're surprised they noticed. You like the idea of having another man, but it seems like too much trouble. You think that all men want only one thing, to be waited on. You try to remind yourself that there are things you should be afraid of, like car thieves, tornadoes, poker games with strangers. But you never seem to remember until the danger's past. Then you tell yourself you'll be on the lookout for that the next time, but you never are. So, how did I do? Does that sound like your life, Contessa?
Oh, I don't know. Might have been. I think the wind's picking up.
How'd she handle?
Oh, beautifully. You know, I'd love to take her, but I'm not really sure how long I'm going to be here for. Would it be all right if I just rented her for a week at the start?
A week will be fine.
Great, great. You know, Officer Noon, there's something else you might be able to help me with. You remember our little cabin down on the Cove Road? Well, we have a couple of repairs that we need to be made, and I posted a notice at the Rusty Nail, but so far I haven't had any response. I was just wondering, is there somebody that you know that you could recommend?
Not offhand. I'll ask my sons for you.
Great, thanks. Oh, maybe